I also considered pediatric cardiology as a potential option. I didn't choose it in the end because it didn't have as much kind of hands-on procedural stuff as I wanted, for good reason. You know, we try to avoid doing invasive procedures on kids as much as we can, but it's a fascinating and rewarding field. And the reason I thought I'd just quickly record this video is because perhaps the coolest thing I've ever witnessed in my medical career was done by a pediatric cardiologist. I was visiting a friend. This was a long time ago, so I didn't really know that much about cardiology at the time. Some would say I still don't, but he's a pediatric general surgeon, and I was just talking to him, and he got called in as an emergency to a very sick baby, I think maybe 2 months old, and the baby was grey, like a deep blue grey, had become acutely cyanotic, very abnormal colour, and the baby had been born with transposition of the great vessels, which is where the two main blood vessels leaving the heart are reversed. Now that circulation, uncorrected, is incompatible with life, because you've got one circuit going to the lungs and back to the heart, and another circuit going to the body and back to the heart, and there's no mixing between the two. So those babies were born with this particular condition. They're kept alive as long as possible through a connection between the blood vessels called the PDA, which normally closes off after birth. It's open in the womb, and you give drugs to try and keep it open. And the reason they do this is to allow the baby to get bigger, to be a bit stronger, and then undergo proper surgical correction. But in this case, that vessel had suddenly blocked off. Either the medication had stopped working, or a clot maybe had formed. And the baby was so shut down, they couldn't even get a line in. So that's why my friend was called as a surgeon to do a cut down to access the vein and artery in the groin, the femoral vein in particular that they were after. So he did that and accessed the vein. And this pediatric cardiologist, who was an Indian guy, you know, maybe coming close to the end of his career, and just as cool as anything, just kind of sort of wandered in and put a catheter up the vein into the right side of the heart, into the right atrium, across the septum, into atrial septum, into the left atrium, and then blew up a balloon to basically tear a hole through the thin lining between the atria and allow mixing between the left and right side of the heart, which normally you never want. But in this case, that's called an emergency balloon septostomy. And talking of kids, my kid has just finished potty and is calling for me, so I'm going to have to go. But that, I can't convey to you, the baby just went pink in seconds, and it was just an amazing thing to see.